Thanks. So, just to start, a lot of you have heard me say at different times that I help small business owners feel great about themselves and about their business. Feel great about themselves and about their business. So just hang on to that thought for a little while, we'll come back to that. And a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, I was having lunch with an ex-client of mine, and a lot of you know him, Brad Chapman. And at lunch I was reflecting and being stupid, and at some point I said, you know what, God, I wish I'd met someone like me back in 1990 when I was in the early days of my business career. And Brad said, yeah, right, you would have listened. And, well, of course, he was right. I hate him for it, but he was right. I wouldn't have listened in 1990. I was so wrapped up in myself in 1990. Maybe I still am, but in 1990 I was so wrapped up in myself I had all the answers, and I certainly wasn't going to ask for help from anyone. Now, the other thing you might have heard me say from time to time is if you want to have something you've never had before, you've got to be someone you've never been before. So that means change, personal change. Personal change is a process, it's a journey of discovery, and the first step, the absolute first step on that journey is to accept that you don't have all the answers. And to reach out and shake hands with your inner demon. The inner demon, you know him, he sits on your shoulder and he never fucking shuts up. Right? That's the inner demon. Well, but the little voice on your shoulder. So some years ago I was seeing a psychotherapist for an extended period of time, and she had me pay really close attention to that little voice. And I realised that voice is actually the voice of a really old man. And he's sitting in a nursing home, he's 75, 80, he's all alone, and he's scared, and he's got nothing better to do. He's got one of those comb overs, and he sits in one of those plastic institutional lounge chairs. And but the thing is, you got to understand, that guy, that old man, he's as real to me as you are here. He's in my head. I know, I need to see a therapist, I do. But he's effectively, he's just as real to me as you are. And when he's around, in a way, I become him. But he's not a nice man. He's a bitter, nasty, cynical old fuck. But stop for a moment and check in with your own voice, your own grumpy old man, grumpy old woman, whatever the version of your voice in your head is. And you have one unless you're a psychopath, believe me. And listen to it. What's he sound like? Because it's horrendous, right? You wouldn't talk to anyone like that, ever. You're too fat. You haven't got a clue, do you? But that is how we sound. That is how we speak to ourselves. All day long sometimes. And it's that voice that gets in the way of you feeling great about yourself and about your business. Because the harder you try and ignore him, the louder he gets. The louder he gets, the more power he gets. The more power he has, the tougher you'll find it to feel great about yourself. And there are two things you've got to remember about that voice. The grumpy old man, the grumpy old woman, whatever he is for you, or she is for you, you can't outsmart him, you can't outwit him, you can't beat him down into submission, because he's just as clever as you are, he's just as smart as you are, just as creative as you are, because guess what? He is you. And two, he originates, or she originates in what is arguably our greatest, our most primal fear as human beings, and that's the fear of being left alone. Now the good news is, you don't have to let him have all that power. He doesn't need to rule your life. We can slay the demon, just not in the way that you think. So, some years ago, the grumpy old man, he has nothing better to do than give me a hard time and make me feel shit about myself. I decided one day I'm going to break the pattern. And I still do this now. Whenever I feel that he gets too big, too powerful, too overwhelming, and what I do is I actually go and see him. I actually go and bring him a cup of tea. I go and sit with him and spend some time with him. And the weird thing is that the moment I do, he calms down because he doesn't feel so scared anymore. He calms down and his power over me diminishes. He's still a grumpy old bastard because guess what? He is me. He's nowhere near as bitter and he's nowhere near as ugly as he used to be, and the most important part, nor am I, honestly. So, what I'd like you to consider is this. Therapists like me, I've spent more money on them than anybody that sent their kids to private schools for me, but I'd like you to consider this. Sitting with your own grumpy old man, your own grumpy old woman, is saying, yeah, you're right, I made an absolute mess of that. Yeah, you're right, Alan, I shouldn't have had that fifth Negroni. Yeah, you're right, I really haven't got a clue what to do here. But you know what, it's okay. It's okay, I'll do better next time. I'll ask for help. I'm okay. Accepting your mistakes, owning them, naming them, asking for help, above all, with kindness to yourself. That's the one thing that the voice on your shoulder doesn't have an answer for. And so, the interesting conclusion I'd like you to reach from that is that kindness, of self-compassion, kindness to yourself, is actually the most important KPI in your business. It's actually the most important key performance indicator in your business. And that's a weird thought, and I'm sure Macquarie Bank is not likely to bring out a kindness index very soon, but they might. It's a weird thought, but it's true nevertheless. I promise you.